basically, like, this is how she answered. What's the real answer?
Yeah,
that's fine as well.
Just are you? This one is going on your second YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to know if I should record it myself.
Yeah, no, I will get it uploaded. It should be around by like tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
cool.
probably
Nice.
be around there. Yeah, it should be around there by tomorrow morning.
Man,
Yeah.
fast. Oh, and another question: is it Spilo or Spilo?
It doesn't matter. Spilo is how I've always pronounced it, but I spent so much time in Europe, and those guys can't pronounce jack all, so it's been
Spilo.
Spilo, so
Yeah.
no, it really either one's. I've even had Spillo and Spolo. I'm not even sure how you get there. I think it was Jane that called me Spolo, and I was like spelunking.
My boy, yeah.
I was like,
Hell yeah,
well,
I like that.
there you go. But yeah, it really doesn't matter. So
Nice. I mean, same for me. Mine's like basically 5 random letters, so whatever people
Pack
go
can be?
with. They usually end up with Pack, so I'll take Pack.
Okay, Pack works.
You can call me Nick. That's fine.
Okay,
It's
Nick,
weird.
so-
I'm too old to be go by.
Well, how old are you?
I'm gonna be 32 at the end of the month.
Okay. I was gonna say. I guess you're officially old in esports. I'm officially old in esports. You're officially old in esports. I guess we're like all pitted party now. So.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, what got you interested in coaching?
You mentioned Jane before, but Jane was sort of the OG coach
Yeah.
when he appeared on the scene, and I remember. I think I have clips on my Twitch of him VOD reviewing my Diva from way back in the day.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I've always wanted to be really good at a game, and because I started playing like competitive games when I was like 15, playing CS Source. And there's a lot more like resources and stuff now to get good at games, which is great. I wish I would have had that when I was in high school. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of took a break from games for a long time. Like I played CS Source, and I was on like a CEVO main team. I don't know if you're familiar with the CEVO and Cal, but
Jack
I
all.
was a
Tell me
bench.
about it.
Yeah.
What is it?
That was like the only way to play competitively. Like you would join a team, you'd find people in IRC. I don't know if you remember IRC, but I'll talk about old. You find people in IRC, and then you'd try out for teams, and like Cal and CEVO both had open division, and if you placed well enough in open division, you'd go into IM, and then from IM you go to main, and then main you go to invite. Invite is where like pro players were. So I always wanted to be like pretty good, and I was pretty happy to be on a main team, but I was a bench player, so I didn't actually play any matches.
Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying.
Yeah. So I have like a little background in esports, I guess. So I got that dog in me a little bit of competitive spirit.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then I haven't really played. I took a big break from gaming for a while, and
Why is that?
I was like, I don't know. I mean, let's see. I played Overwatch in like 2016, 2017, and I was like really obsessing about it, and it was kind of hurting my my relationship with my girlfriend at the time. There was a lot of reasons why that didn't work out, but I think I was sort of filling the hole with Overwatch, and so I was like, okay, this is like unhealthy right now, so I have to like. So I took a break for a while from just playing games, and then lately I was like, man, I want to play something shooty. So I started playing Kovacs. I was like, I'll just get my aim warmed up for something. I don't know what. Played a little bit of CS:GO, and I was like, this is cool, but I need more aim shit. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what has a lot of crazy aim situations is Overwatch. So we're back, and we're not playing tank anymore. We're playing DPS.
Got it.
And it's been a lot of fun.
Sick. Yeah, I'm seeing that you were like Masters Tank, and then you were Diamond DPS in Overwatch 1.
Yeah, I had 2 accounts. Well, I still have 2 accounts.
All right, where are you now?
I'm now Diamond 2. So
nice. So you're back in the Diamond.
Yeah, we're back pretty comfortably. My last rank update, I went 5-1, and we're gonna look at the 1 today, I think, because it was a very close game. And I think I can't remember exactly, but at the beginning, I felt like I didn't have a ton of impact. And my stats at the end made it look like, I was killing it. I'm like 48-10 or something like that, but I didn't feel like I had that much impact. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense.
What else?
So why were you initially... Go ahead.
Yeah, what's up?
I was going to say, why were you originally a tank player? What was appealing to you about that?
Because back when I played Overwatch, there's no role queue, as you're aware. You've been playing since the beginning, and nobody was good at main tank. So it was like, fuck this. I'm playing main tank because you guys suck at this. Yeah. And it was the right choice because like main tank was super like important. I mean, all the roles important, but something about main tank, like ladder, nobody knew how to play it. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this, and I don't know. It just worked out that way. And I wanted to hit GM back then. I just didn't have enough time. And like I said, it was kind of hurting my relationship at the time.
Right. Priorities. Yeah, I get you. Okay. And so then now you're on DPS. You just said you wanted something more aimy. And so obviously DPS. Okay, fair enough.
Yes, sir.
And then as of the forum, it was Cassidy Soldier. Has that changed?
Yeah, I'm a Soldier 76 one trick now. It's
Nice.
76 all day.
Nice, nice. You're full. Like I was gonna say, as you age, I guess that's just the natural way you go. You're either a Reinhardt or a Soldier 76 splitter. There's no
Yeah,
other
it's true.
alternatives.
Yeah, it's annoys me how much I like identify with this old fuck now. I can cuss, right? Is it cool if I curse on
Yeah,
this? I
you're
can't
fine. You're
remember.
fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's fine. You know, obviously, like, there's. I think he still probably could use some
Yeah.
love. I mean, here's what do you think
No, I
about
love
like?
how mids he is, to be honest, because it's like it seems like a really good way to practice.
Yeah.
Because also nobody ever takes 76. Like I can
No.
insta-lock 76 every single game, and nobody like nothing. It's it works
Yeah.
out every time.
Yeah. Exactly. I think they should put his healing station on like mobile. You know how they did that? Like, was it in? Shoot, where was it? Was it? They did something recently where Soldier 76 could move while he had healing station.
Oh, that was the April Fool's update, right?
Ah, yeah. See, I
Yeah.
legitimately thought that would be like a good change for him, but anyway,
Yeah.
long story
We're gonna
short.
get into it later, but my hottest take is that if Hanzo can headshot, Helix Rocket should be able to headshot. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, jeez.
Just gonna throw that out there because
Yeah,
there's some
sure.
Hanzo duels that I lose in this, and I
Oh,
hate
jeez. So,
Hanzo.
the
with
Hanzo is a
fucking
horrible
passion.
matchup for you. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie. Like,
I
just
know. I know. There's no range that I win.
no,
It drives me
no,
insane.
not a single one. It's literally. It's not even just the fact. It's Stormier. You're cooked. It's
Yeah,
over.
I know.
it's
I know.
literally You're cooked. So,
Dude, everyone complains about Widowmaker. I don't know. I mean, Hanzo is the one for me. It's like, why does he have no weaknesses other than he's a projectile hero? I
Yeah.
don't understand
The
it.
only weakness that he has is his old is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. It's like,
Yeah, it drives me actually bananas.
It's like playing versus Diva. You're like, I hate playing versus this hero. We win matches, but I hate playing versus this hero. You know.
At least I can run away from Diva.
That's true.
At least I can use my legs and get out of there. So
That's
Hanzo
true.
kills me at any range.
That's true. Well, I guess we just
Yeah,
zoom through questions here and find out what's changed. What do you hope to get out of the session? Better understanding of my fundamental weaknesses, a more focused way to approach deliberate practice, concrete steps to work on weaknesses one at a time. Have any of those changed?
No, I think to expand a little bit, I have a little bit of trouble knowing, I guess maybe we all would, but I don't know what like my biggest weakness is. So when I've been watching my VODs, I'm like, I just sort of look for general, like what I did wrong, and then I'll try fixing that. And lately I've been have this mantra that's, what was it? It was like, I always put it up on my second monitor, and it's what's your range, where's your cover?
Yeah.
And that has helped quite a bit because 76's range is way longer than I think many realize. 30 meters is crazy to do max damage.
Yeah.
And that sort of like clicked for me because like in the form I was kind of like, I fell down from Diamond 4 to like Gold 1 at some point, and then I climbed back to Plat 5, and I was like really scared to play until Season 4, and then Season 4 started, and like, okay, let's do it. And now we're Diamond 2, and just honestly, just like playing at my appropriate range has been so helpful.
Have you seen any of my videos on Soldier?
Yes, I've watched many of them.
Okay, I was gonna say, it sounds like I'm like,
I watched that one of that 16-year-old kid who only quick play warrior that is a GM. I was like, how the fuck? This kid's insane.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It kind of pissed me off. I was like, what?
It's sometimes the amount of effort that comes for some people. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, my old ass is like sweating my balls off in Diamond, and this kid's just owning in quick play and jumps into comp. Oops, I'm GM now.
It's ridiculous.
Congrats to him, but I'm jealous.
But yes, exactly. Okay, I mean, those are great things to focus at, and I'm sure we'll talk about them a little bit in the session. But I'm glad that if nothing else, you've kind of done your homework. So it's going to make my job a lot easier, and it's going to make this a lot more productive as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I utilize my clinically diagnosed OCD in good ways, where it's just like I'm like overthinking and like looking at all, like watching every fucking video to the point where like sometimes I watched that one video of yours that was like, are you too smart to play Overwatch? And I don't think I'm smart, but it is like I have this desire to just like absorb all this knowledge and try to use it all at once.
Yeah, well, it's a big problem, and the reason why I'm so sensitive to that is because for two reasons. One, it's what I struggled with, and I continue to struggle with, like, is overthinking a lot of things instead of flow stating. And then the other thing is, it's also like when you're on my channel, I do provide, I'd like to think, a lot of good information, but every educational Discord is filled with the hard stuck smarty pants right?
Yeah.
Which is nothing wrong with that, because a lot of people like me don't really care about getting good at the game. They just enjoy like learning about it. But then there are some people that just, they study and they study and they study, and they just don't know how to spend their time, and they don't know how to get out of their own way, you know? And I think that's like something that's like really, really, really important to watch out for.
Absolutely.
Okay. What are your long-term, short-term goals? Gain an excellent understanding of the game and hit Grandmaster. Short-term, fixing my mindset. Gain a better understanding of deliberate practice to study and improve my own. So I'm sure we'll talk about the mindset in a little bit, but Grandmaster, okay. Training time now. Where are you at right
now? So I'm a freelancer, and right now I'm in between jobs, so I have like all day to do shit. Although, like, I mean, not just from your videos, but from like, I don't know if you've ever read the book Peak.
Yeah, I have.
I think so. Yeah, great book. Anyway, I mean, it's pretty emphasized amongst people who coach and who, you know, to get good at stuff, you can't really like do these like crazy long sessions. So I do like a couple hours a day.
Yep. Okay.
I do 30 minutes of Kovacs. I quite like aim training, especially. I don't know if you've heard of Voltaic, but it's like I quite like the Voltaic because like it helps me, like it breaks down like aiming in a very like minute way, you know what I mean? So like it's also super measurable if you talk about like SMART goals, you know.
Yes.
Whatever that, I forget what it stands
measurable,
for.
achievable,
short, measurable, achievable, R, timely.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember the R one is, but yeah, it's really good. And also it helps because like when I get in game, there's never a question of, oh shit, is my aim not good enough? It's like my aim's the best it has ever been right now. So I don't need to think about it. And since aiming is so mental, it's a huge mental burden off to just focus on other shit. Because when I was playing Counter-Strike and stuff growing up, it's like, man, my aim sucks. I would always blame everything on aim. A lot of people do that. Like I have friends who play Overwatch, like, yeah, I think my game sense is good. It's just have bad aim. And then I watch their games, like, no, you're just an idiot. You're really bad.
It feels like you check the box so that you can focus on the things that are actually holding you back. Yeah. No, I mean, it makes total sense. And I think also like one of the underrated things about warm up is that it's just like the confidence that it gives you. You know, it feels like you're mentally alert and mentally aware. Now, I'm a big Kovacs hater, but if whatever you're doing is like making you feel like you're warmed up and ready to go, and you have the time for it, and you're not fatiguing yourself out, I'm not going to tell you to swap it. Right. Yeah. Now, if down the road, if you feel like you're smooth and you're good to go and you want to experiment more, then, you know, let me know and I'll throw your ideas your way. But I don't think you need to change what you're doing right now, to be honest. Yeah. And then a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours in terms of ranked, and that's fine as well.
More like 3 would be like a weekend maybe. I don't know. Like I would kind of love to, but also I'm 32 years old. I gotta do some other shit.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, I think 2 hours. Let's just put it this way. We can get you higher than where you're at with 2 hours with your current training
for
schedule.
Sure.
It's 2:30 including your warm up. Yeah.
Yeah, ish. I mean, I play till I feel like I'm losing focus on ranked or whatever, or it's getting too late. I mean, it's gonna have to change when freelance jobs start coming back in.
Right.
I'll make it work.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Let's keep going here. Soldier 76, one trick. Sleep looks pretty good as well. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? And obviously, if this changed, let me know. Mentality is number one. You talk about your rank. Obviously, that's been changed a little bit. So maybe the insecurity has been a little bit better. But overall, your mentality definitely seems to be an issue popping up in the form. What was that? Has that changed? And is there anything else that you would add?
I think mentality's gotten better. I mean, clearly, I don't think I would have, climbed back to D2 without a mentality shift. But I do still have, like it probably all stems from the same thing. I'm not sure what it is, but like now when I start getting into quote unquote higher rank games or whatever, like I'll get into like Master 5 games and then I'll be like, oh shit, the people are going to be better now. And then I like give them too much deference. I'm like,
yeah.
Or actually, I just saw that clip from one of the coaching sessions about, I forget what it was like ego dueling.
The Ryan stuff?
The Ryan stuff, yeah. And I was like, that really helped the other day too, because every time I see another 76, I'm like, oh, it's on. Like, fuck you. I'm gonna
right.
Or if I'm in like a Master 4 or 5 game, I'm like, oh shit, he's probably better than me.
Right.
So it probably all kind of stems from the same thing, where it's like this fear of getting owned and losing rank. I don't exactly know, but yeah, so the mindset has shifted a little bit, where I am definitely not as worried about like rank up, rank down. It's just like
Well, that's good.
Focus on this improvement.
Right.
And it's actually, I have 2 monitors, and on my second monitor, I have this huge image that's magenta with black text that just like tells me like one sentence to remind me of what I'm doing. And if I notice I'm getting tilted, I just look at it and go, all right, just do that shit. Doesn't matter.
Good.
That has helped quite a bit.
Good. I mean, yeah, it's important because my concern is that like for right now, maybe it's improved some, which is obviously the goal, but it also might be that like, oh, hey, I'm D2, but like how long is that gonna like stick around before you go, oh, I'm D2, I deserve more now, and then you're gonna get frustrated yourself again, and we're in the full cycle because it's like this might just be a temporary fix, but ultimately like the goal has to be thankful for what you have and where you're at and focus on the process.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, everything that you're saying, it feels like you kind of understand that it's, things to work through, the ego thing, right? The ego duel. You need to be thinking that I can position better than this soldier most of the time to where I don't even need to worry about beating him because he's going to be positioned in worse positions than me. So I don't even need to worry about it. Now, if he tries to fight for your good position, then you need an ego duel, right? But then if he doesn't matter. If he's a Masters 5 soldier, well, you want to be a Masters 4 soldier, so you need to beat him, right? And every time you learn, every time you die, every time you lose the duel or he outvalues you, then you're thinking, okay, what can I learn from that? What could I have done better, right? It's like the problem with Overwatch is sometimes you're going to be thrown in plat lobbies, right? And you're going to be expected to carry, so you might... That the problem with those lobbies is not the matchmaking necessarily because it's an even game. It's the fact that you're not really going to be pushed as hard as you should. You have to kind of self-motivate. But when you're put as the lower ranked player, then you don't even have to worry about self-motivation. You get kicked in the balls if you don't. And that's good practice right there. So every time you get in one of those lobbies, it should be an encouraging thing because just you performing is good enough. You don't have to try and carry.
Definitely. There's also stress off in the higher level ones because it's like, I know how the matchmaker works. Like if you're expected to lose, you'll lose way less MMR if you do. I mean, we're getting into the weeds of winning and losing MMR, which maybe I shouldn't even care about, but it's there.
I think it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. It sucks because when I in like mid-high diamond, sometimes you get the average rank plat 4 games. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then the stress is on. It's like, oh god, I better not lose this.
Right. Well, but the thing is that's no different than the Masters game because the matchmaker's putting you in the exact same percentage or chance of winning. Right. Yeah. Plat 4, there's also a very high ranked player on the enemy team that's expected to carry as well, and you've got bot teammates, right? As does he, right? So there's no real difference in performance. The only difference for me is that you're not going to be stressed as much directly. It's going to be more indirect stress of can you perform perfectly, right? Which the game is expecting you to essentially. But yeah, you still play the same, right? You'd still play the same, and even in the higher rank lobbies, like you would still try to take risks, to play gamble, to do what you need to do, even if you end up tossing the game, because like you can't just like beta out, right?
Yeah, you got to play your game still.
Right.
You can't change how you're playing.
Right. Otherwise, if you it's like racking the bar for bench for 450 pounds and just looking at it. If you don't at least try, it doesn't actually do anything for you. Okay. Ego duel, high rank stuff. I feel like there's something in the tip of my tongue, but I can't think about it. But yeah, that's all fine. I guess just be patient. Set a good schedule, set a good training structure, go one step at a time. And then I think something that we haven't touched on, but I want to like point out one more time, is the overthinking thing, right? Like making sure that you're very specific, very brief, not trying to overanalyze. Be careful about how much time you spend consuming content. You need to treat it like okay, let's be honest. If you're scrolling through TikTok, right, and you're watching one of my videos, it's the same net value most of the time. Now, you said that you learned something from the 101 Ryan guide. I'm glad to hear it. That was definitely useful. But at this point in time, if you already have goals to work on, you don't need my content, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying you not watch it because I got to put food on the table, but it's supposed to be fun, And the reason I put so much out there is to provide something that's fun but also educational for people that don't have it. But for somebody like you that already has what they need, anything more is probably more unnecessary and more of a distraction than anything else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I'm not saying don't watch it, but just understand what it's more for fun than improvement at that point.
I have a huge ass like text document that maybe I'll send you when we're done. So
sure.
Take a look through, and it's just like notes I've taken on Overwatch, and it kind of embodies exactly what you're saying. But on the plus side, like I've been watching videos and I haven't really been adding anything more because there's nothing more that I have needed, really.
Right, exactly. Because the thing is, even if there is more to learn, you may not have more to learn right now, right? After this session, it's why, for example, after today's session, if you were like, oh, I want to book a session for you tomorrow, I'd be like, what are you smoking? Like, what's wrong with you? No, even if there was more to learn, you need to go practice and go forth and do this first, and then we can cross that road when we get there, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a big point in Peak, where he talks about like, just like book knowledge is like worth almost nothing compared to like experience knowledge. Like being able to do it is way more important than
knowledge versus skill, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's a massive gap between like a lot of the heroes. And the funny thing is that a lot of the heroes that are like faster, my gap is even bigger, because it's like being able to apply it with speed is such a big problem. Like my Winston is probably one of my better heroes, if not my best hero, because even though I don't have a ton of hours in him, so much of him is it's like slower pace, so that I can actually apply what I know. But a hero like Tracer, I can't do anything with that hero. Like I am terrible with Tracer, because she's too fast. Like I don't have time to apply what I know.
Yeah, I've noticed that if I don't think about this, also goes for aim training. If I'm doing like reactive tracking or whatever, if I have the thought this is fast, then it's really fast. But if I have the thought like this isn't actually that fast, or I don't need to go that fast, you'll play faster. And I mean, I'm not giving you advice. I've just noticed this is what happens with me, because I do the same thing. Like if I've practiced some Tracer on my ult, and I want to like blinking all over the place and melee and all this shit. I'm like, what if I just chilled and I just ran and I just shot slowly, and it actually, like, you end up playing faster than you would.
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah.
You know, there he goes, the Rooster, he's like, stop thinking, just do it, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly like, that's ultimately like we want that goal with every hero, and like, you know, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, as Bruce Lee said, right? So that's ultimately the goal. That takes skill to be able to do that, but ultimately when you have that skill, that should be the goal.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't have anything else from your form. Is there anything else that you want to go over?
I have a whole bunch of questions, but maybe we just do them at the end.
Is it more gameplay related, or
some of them are? Let me see.
We'll do the non-gameplay related ones first. Let's do that.
Okay, yeah. I guess so. It took me a long time to get used to Overwatch 2. So I had one of these questions that, like, what do we think is the main difference between Overwatch 1 and 2? Because like when I got into 2, I had all my instincts were wrong. It was like, oh, this fight's lost, and then we'd win it and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Or we'd be like, okay, we got this, and then we lose it. I don't know. It was like, and then like too many all this ult dumping. I mean, that happens at every rank, but like it would work, and I'd be like, what is happening? This is not the Overwatch that I know.
Yeah.
And then also the tank. I mean, obviously there's one tank, and obviously they're just a giant DPS now, but it's just like, for me as a main tank player, my job was to like hold off other tanks, kind of. I mean, it wasn't always, but you know, it's like there's this tank duel that does not exist now. Yeah.
Well, the main difference, that this will actually be easier if I actually pull this up here. This is something that I talked about initially when like the beta was live, but I think it's worth, get my stream situated here. So the main difference between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 is really, actually, it's kind of coincidental, because DPS players, I think, are potentially the most affected by it. Supports as well.
Yes, that was confused the hell out. Oh, you really think supports? Interesting. I do.
I
didn't play that much support, but I'll trust you on that.
Basically, it's like this. If we look at like the payloads here, right, and then people are fighting for high ground and angles, off angles here and here, right? As a DPS, a lot of the time with just the presence of an off tank, it meant that you could take just basically a selfish angle, and you would just shoot their tank. And it could be their off tank, it could be their main tank. It didn't really matter what it was. It could be anybody in cart. But if you took the best position that you could for Soldier 76, and even if it was just freaking shooting Reinhardt, right, or D.Va, the Overwatch 1 tanks were just more fragile. And there was more of them, so there was a lot of pressure that you could get just by shooting big fat tank on cart. Easy peasy value, right? Now, what Overwatch 2 did is they said, well, we're going to remove one of these tanks entirely, and then we're going to make this tank a little bit bigger. So the return on investment for what you do on this one tank, just shooting the tank, shooting the shield, whatever, dipped. And then what ended up happening is that, especially because there was one fewer tank on the field, right? All of a sudden, there's a lot less protection, indirect or direct, through somebody else just saying, you know what, screw you, soldier, I'm going to go kill you, right?
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is that you had enemy teammates decided that, you know what, I'm going to fight this soldier. It's not even worth shooting the tank anymore. I'm going to go fight the soldier, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go just. So what ended up happening is Overwatch 2 turned into a game where it was a lot of control of angles, but you could get a lot of value by pressuring main and punishing tank, and to where a lot of the value came through basically ninja sissy stuff. People playing really just people playing slap fights on the flanks, right? And the problem with that is it's contrary to human nature to do something that doesn't produce as much dopamine. And if you've ever dueled a Tracer or a Hanzo, you notice there's not a lot of ticky-tickies, right? Hitting a Helix on a Hanzo, so he has to lunge out, then get pocket from the Ana, and he loses the angle, doesn't feel like super satisfying as like lasering down a D.Va or a Zarya.
Yeah, ding, 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 ding.
Right, but it's significantly more impactful in terms of controlling space, controlling pressure, and so on, and is a better return on investment for your time for most heroes. So the biggest difference has been that adjustment exactly, especially for heroes that do take angles, that do take flanks. And the reason why I was saying it affects supports as well is supports could no longer sit back here and be like, I'm just going to play safe, not die, pump healing into my tank, who are under a lot of pressure, right? Overwatch 1 tanks are more fragile, and build a powerful ultimate. But now you get reduced ult charge, now your tank is tankier and demands less space, and now also, instead of the off-tank controlling angles for you, your DPS are controlling angles for you, and your DPS are getting their teeth kicked in because you're not even looking at them. You're only focusing on tank. So they're losing to soldiers like you. So what ended up happening is then this poor DPS gets no help, and so they have to run away, and then you win the flank as a Soldier 76, and then now who are you shooting from that flank?
Right. Supports.
The supports. And now the supports are dying, right?
Up.
The supports are dying to Genjis and Tracers and Soldiers and Hanzos, and they're dying off the cooldown. They're like, what am I doing? I'm hiding behind the tank. I'm hiding. Like, what? Well, it's because they're not controlling space. And so with this beautiful Van Gogh on your screen here, the idea is that supports and DPS had to be so much more proactive in controlling the angles and flanks, and not just angles and flanks, because not every game in the low ranks is going to have that, but shooting squishies, shooting DPS, pressuring them, and not only focusing on the tank duel has become a lot more important. That was by far the biggest change.
Yeah. What's interesting though, because like I felt coming back that I had less impact on the game as DPS now. Would you say that seems like, based on what you just said, like showed me here, that's would actually be wrong? It seems like DPS has more impact.
Well, I mean, mathematically, you have more impact because it's 5v5, right? So obviously, you have more impact. Tanks are a little bit stronger in terms of like the raid boss kind of a thing going on, so that's definitely a factor as well. But I think you feel like you sometimes have less impact, but your impact is more intangible than tangible, if that makes sense. Like, let's put it this way. You're not going to be, as an Ana, building up a nano immediately and nanoing your Reinhardt and landing a big anti.
Yeah.
But you will be body shotting a Tracer, forcing a recall, antonating the Genji, and, sleep darting the Reinhardt to give yourself a like, it's little things like that add up to big stuff. It's just not very sexy is what it is. It doesn't feel super impactful to beat a soldier in a duel and force him to run away, right? That just doesn't feel as good. But there's a lot more playmaking potential in terms of if you get a good off angle with Soldier. I mean, think about it. Soldier is a perfect example. Tactical Visor goes from being one of the worst ultimates in the game to being still not great, but a lot better if you can set it up well, right? And I think that change alone kind of tells you how much more space is there if you're able to take it.
Yeah.
And that's a hard concept to explain.
As a jaded 76 player, I think Tac Visor still sucks my butt.
It does. It does. It's still one of the worst ultimates in the game, but at least it has potential. Right.
It's true. At least I can headshot with it.
You can headshot with it, right? And there's just more space in the field for you to be able to get stuff with it, right? I mean, it was crazy that people were like, unironically, Nano Visor was a meta in Overwatch League for a period of time.
Yeah.
And that was a joke for years.
I know. Nano Visor kind of fucks now.
Nano Visor slaps.
I kind of was sort of subscribing to the IOStuck school of thought, where it's like nano plus whatever is a little bit of a waste of, because it's like 2 ults when you could just win with 1. But after I got Nano Visor a few times, like that's a team wipe, like a lot.
I think it's the same thing as
Nano
Nano
Visor's
Blade.
still good.
It's like, where is one ult going to win us this fight? Right?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, because they also have ultimates or whatever else, then I think Nano Visor, Nano plus ultimate is good. right?
Yeah. It's like Nano's like, can we win? Maybe. Nano Visor, yes.
Yes, right. Nano Visor, Nano Blade
maybe to yes.
should be straight up team fight wins. And I think I do disagree with Iosix, because I think when you commit 2 ultimates and you guarantee a fight win, I think 90% of the time that's a good. We're very glad. Even if they use 0 ultimates, I want to win the fight, right? Win the fight. Yeah. Even if you lose the next fight, okay, then make them use ultimates in response. For
sure.
There's obvious exceptions to that rule, but I think that's a fine line of thought there.
Let's see. Okay. I guess I have. So I already asked you if you're familiar with Peak, and you are. Did you ever read The Inner Game of Tennis?
I have.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Is
there any way to apply it?
It's a rudimentary understanding of something that I think has become more expanded on as time has gone on.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
I mean, it was written in the 70s.
Yeah.
I like the self 1, self 2 stuff. I think that
it's very accurate. It's very accurate. And as time has developed, people have come to realize that how accurate it is. The one nitpick I have with it is that I don't think that it's necessarily something that you should necessarily always mimic and practice.
And that's kind of what I've
in execution and game it is, but in practice you need to be self-wonned more, like actively controlling, forcing yourself to stay focused in practice.
Okay.
Even if you play worse, because you're not playing to perform. You're playing to practice.
Okay. Yeah, that was my main point of contention with it, because I was like, should I trust this and do that, or should I? Because like every time I've gotten good at, decent at something, it's been like really hyper focus on one thing at a time.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm glad.
But it's applicable in part because, for example, if you're hyper focusing on one aspect, you need to kind of inner game of tennis the other aspects. You kind of see what I'm saying? Where you just let it go, let it happen, don't worry about it. Let that stuff happen. And I also do think that it's a good life skill to be able, even if you're not like a competitor in Overwatch, to be able to turn it off whenever you want to. For example, if you were today going to do like a pug, or let's say it was like, I'm gonna throw something on you. Say it's a rank up game, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would go inner game of tennis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Something where you want to perform, you need to be able to turn that on. Another good example for me would be as well, when this is super corny, but I love it. I play mini golf occasionally when we're on like vacation or whatever with my brothers, and I don't practice mini golf. I will play mini golf once or twice a year, right? So there's no point practicing in that one game that we play. So my goal is to get out of my own way, let my general athleticism, hand-eye coordination just take over. And so I treat that one game of mini golf that I'm playing like an inner game of tennis exercise.
Nice. I like that.
You kind of see what I'm saying? Where everyone else is like sitting there and measuring the goal and like lining. I'm like, bro, you play this once every 8 months. You're not going to be able to factor in any of this information, right? You stop kidding yourself, right? You're not Tiger Woods. So I'm just out there just like, there's the hole. Here's the ball. I'm going to hit the hole in the ball. Go forth to do it, right? And I generally do pretty darn well. I don't choke near as much as a lot of other people do. And I think that's just that's the difference between the inner game of tennis with me. And you might even do that for fun. Maybe have like one day a week where you just play for fun and try an inner game of tennis all day.
Yeah, for sure. Don't practice at all. Hey, that's what the alt account is for.
Right. But like not just playing for fun, but like actually like seeing how you can perform. Play to win every game you play.
Yeah. But with the sort of zened out. Self 2 only turn off self 1 stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay. I don't want to take up all the time before the thing, but
that's fine.
I don't necessarily want to be a one trick. So I think it was either you or it was A10 where we were talking about like if you learn one hit scan, you kind of learn them all, and that they just take different angles or different. It's like a very similar play style. So is that true? It
is true. It's definitely not 100% true, but it is. It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. And who do you think is the most worth hit scan to learn? It seems to me like Ashe would be the one. She seems like the best value of the other hit scan.
Like right now, Tracer, power. Like right now. I mean, I don't know why even bother. It's going to change in a month anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I mean, like I love Cass, but he has traditionally been dumpstered. Like Blizzard hates him. He's been good like twice in the game, and then as soon as that happens,
but you're still going to have people playing like Wanted, playing him in top 500. So if your goal is to get the Grandmaster, it's going to be about what one you enjoy playing more.
True.
Okay, Sojourn, for example, Sojourn, right, for a little bit was like busted, but now she's like really kind of struggling a little bit. So like, it you just don't gamble on it. Play what you want to play.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure. And I guess last one is super general, but does Pro Play still use like hit scan flex DPS setup? Is that what they
usually
still do that?
It's a little more specialized than that. Hit scan, if it's meta, you kind of need I wouldn't say a specialist, but there's going to be somebody that's better hit scan, right?
Okay.
And then generally the other one for pro play has been Tracer. Like everybody needs.
That's what I was going to ask. Is Tracer considered the hit scan in that setup, or is she considered
totally
the flex
depends. For a while, it's been a lot of hit scan plus Tracer.
Yeah.
That's been the case for quite a long time. But then also, like, you have metas like right now where it's Sombra and Tracer. So what's happening is some teams like have, for example, Atlanta, I think it's Stalker and Lip on Sombra, right? And Lip is the more hit scanny guy, and he's playing Sombra, but he's a phenomenal Sombra, right? However, if you were to look at a team like, let's say, London, right? They have Lethal, who's a bit of more of a Tracer specialist for that team, and they have Backbone, the projectile player, on Sombra. So it's a team. It depends on the team, right? You might have most hit scans aren't that good at Sombra, so usually what you end up having is the hit scan plays a Tracer now. And the projectile plays the Sombra.
That would have been my guess, because like Sombra is literally hit scan, but she doesn't play like a hit scan.
Right. But it really depends, because then all of a sudden we have a hit scan plus Tracer meta, and then now you'd have to flip flop who's playing Tracer.
Right.
And then there has been metas as well. For example, if it's a brawl meta, you're going to have hit scan plus Mei projectile, right? So it really does depend. I think something like having a competent hit scan but certainly having a good Tracer at the very, very, very top level is a must-have. But for you,
absolutely. No,
not as much of an issue.
I don't worry about Tracer so much. I just like to shoot. Well, she shoot things, but I like to shoot things.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we should probably get into. I guess one last one.
Sure.
So like A10 is all about preaching like discipline with cooldowns, but other people like IO-Stux and Awkward are like some abilities should be just used on cooldown. So where do you land in that debate?
You can probably guess.
I'm gonna guess you're more towards the A10 side, where
somewhere in between. Somewhere in between.
Oh, nice.
Let's put it this way. I like the way Awkward says it, because Awkward preaches it knowing that it's not optimal, but it's preaching it so that you are forced to limit test, and I agree with that. However, I think that we can also preach at the end goal, this is what optimal execution looks like. You kind of see what I'm saying?
When you need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that the way Awkward teaches, especially for lower and mid-rank players, is very, very good. But at a certain point, you do need to...
I agree.
You do need to find out, like, what's the optimal way of using it, and what are the skills that I need to develop to be able to execute that at a higher level. And that's generally how I coach. That being said, I am also in the same camp that limit testing and stress testing and feeding, like hard flanking, is probably the best way to learn.
Okay, that's probably why I was drawn to your content too, because it did seem, because like I watched some A10, I was like, oh, that's like, this is cool. I didn't think about the game like this, and then immediately plummeted to gold 1 from diamond, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. And then I saw Awkward shit, and I was like, okay, this makes more. And like I synthesized it, which is basically what sounds like you like to try to do.
Well, a lot of it is just like, sometimes good coaching can send you down spirals where you're performing worse, but you're learning, right? And then also there's also coaches that just don't. The way that they preach doesn't work for everybody. I mean, it's I don't think A10's bad, obviously, but I think his, like, if I may use the term from Peak, but I think his mental representations like just didn't make sense to me. Like, I was trying to do the stuff, I don't know, it just like didn't work for me for whatever reason. It might be. I think a lot of A10 stuff comes from his Zarya standpoint, where he has played coach the game with Zarya about, like, if you don't need to use bubble, don't use bubble, right? Which is a really important thing with Zarya, so that you're able to greed when you need to. And then maybe that's not the best way to think about it with other heroes, but I mean, I think it's probably reasonable enough. I think it's like it's hard. It's hard. It's just hard. It's hard. It depends on the player, really.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
So this was the only game that I lost recently, and I didn't think we were going to lose it. We were kind of owning, and then they were kind of owning, and then it was a real close game.
Right.
And I think it was good. Like I said, I haven't watched it since I played it, but I distinctly remember feeling like I didn't have a ton of impact in the beginning. I sort of fell into my groove eventually, and then kept getting owned by Hanzo in the duel.
That'll do it. I mean, this is one of the worst soldier maps in the game for that exact same reason. It's all about finding, like, where is your advantage with soldier, right? Because you are obviously one of the things that you are generally better at in average is flanking, right? But you're not even that good at flanking, at least compared to heroes like Tracer, Sombra, and versus things like Wrecking Balls and such. So you should still be taking angles, but it's always about finding like what is my advantage versus the enemy team, right? So like, okay, they're on this, so my advantage is my poke damage. Okay, they're on this, so my advantage is my flanking capability, right? Oh, they're on this, well, my advantage is my self-sustain, right? Like for example, right here, for a brief period of time, you took an angle to where Hanzo wasn't and just tried to spam. That was smart, right?
Oh wait, are we watching something? I can't see nothing.
You can't see nothing? Here,
no.
One more time. So when I restart stream, you might have to like click on our face things on the top of your Discord and click around a little bit.
There it is.
Yeah. So we'll rewind back a little bit here. So like, for example, not a lot of flanks in this map, right? So if there are flanking opportunities, you need to try and take them, especially versus their composition.
Yeah.
If there aren't, what's the best spam angle that you can take to just put out raw damage without peeking that Hanzo?
Yeah.
Obviously easier said than done, especially on this map.
Yes, indeed. Our Zen goes sicko mode in this game, by the way. I feel bad letting him down.
It was me on a Smurf. Omicron Gaming, that sounds super familiar.
He had one less kill than I did and like 200 less damage than I did. I was like, God damn, Zen, calm down.
This guy's crazy. Yeah, so they're like, right here, you have to be thinking here. You know how this fight's going to go, right? So how can you throw a wrench in things, right? Because you could peek here, but is there an angle that you're going to be able to peek that's not going to involve peeking this Hanzo from this position?
Yeah.
I just don't know that there is. Like, I just don't know that there is. Right?
Yeah.
So you gotta break out your wheels. You gotta be hard flank.
Yeah. I think I do end up taking that like underground flank route to get to that balcony on the other side. Yeah, go through there. Like that balcony is fucking soldier heaven.
I mean, this is the play. This is objectively the correct play. Like you could take like an angle here and like try to break Sigma Shield and outspam from here, or like from here if the Hanzo's here, just take this angle here. I think that could work as well. But I think like what you're doing now, just no, like it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm relying on my Zen to go sicko mode right there.
But that's the thing is like, even if it works, you should always be thinking like, what would have been the optimal position? What would have been the optimal angle? Now, let's put them on Sombra. Like, let's say they were on like Sombra Mei. What would have been the play there?
Like back when I was on the balcony.
Just like what would have been the play this fight if they were on Sombra Mei? Where would you go? What would you leverage?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Okay, what's your advantage over Sombra Mei?
Range.
Right. Now Mei, if it's me on Mei, you're cooked because I'm just the greatest. But yeah, generally more consistent range pressure. So now I wouldn't say the sniper, but you don't have to do anything cute. You just take a good angle with good cover and you just spam. Right. Now,
so like
does that mean
hang out back by the like
sure, even where you're at now would have been okay, right? Like just sit up here, just plop your heal station. Now, could you have hard flanked that comp? Yeah, but it's a little bit less attractive, especially if they're in there like something like Tracer Mei or Winston or something like that. You don't have to do anything cute, but you need to again find what is my advantage versus this composition and leverage that. That is the blessing and curse of mid heroes like Soldier, where they have to constantly adjust, but they do have a lot of tools to kind of leverage, right? There's not only one way you play. It really depends, right? It keeps things fresh.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that is kind of why I like 76, despite being so mid.
And you said that you were doing this a lot with like your range, right? But obviously the range is only one aspect. Like right here, you're trolling.
Yeah, I went in way too deep.
You're trolling because you're taking a flank, but you're taking a flank and at a range where Mei's just going to ruin your day. So
yeah, it's true. I thought, I mean, no excuses, but I thought we were a little bit further pushed up, and that's just me not paying attention to where our team was. And I get destroyed. Yeah, it's way down there. Yeah, it's true. As soon as I did that, I was like, yeah, I'm a bot.
That's all right. Now you're gonna have a devil of a time now.
Yeah.
And this is again where you have to be like, yeah. This is so corny, but like I think this is the right play. Now, what do you think?
What do I think? About what?
Where you're at?
I should be doing. I don't hate it because the brig is. out of position, surely, right? She's way ahead of her tank.
Surely, yeah.
I mean, now I can see Hanzo. I probably could have. That's a more free kill. Well, I don't know if it's free, but it's a little easier because he doesn't have a shield and he's not looking at me. And
high risk, high reward.
How does what?
High risk, high reward. Snipe the Hanzo. Catch him off guard. Remember, your advantage over the Hanzo. Okay, here's your advantage over Hanzo. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
2 things. Helix Rocket, which is consistent, more consistent burst and less mechanically demanding, and the element of surprise.
Yeah.
If you catch him off guard because of your repositioning that he cannot do quickly, then you can kill him. Yeah. If you remove those 2 options, he beats you in close, he beats you in mid, he beats you. So you don't have a range advantage, you have a psychological advantage here.
Okay, interesting.
You see what I'm saying? So you can go for the kill here, and then if you fail, you then have to give up immediately and try something else, right?
Now, that might be what happens here. I can't remember.
Maybe. But that's one option. The low risk, low reward option is what you're doing right now, where you're saying, I'm not going to roll the dice. I'm going to take an angle where the Hanzo cannot see me and just shoot. That's fine too.
I am afraid of Hanzo as fuck, so that's usually my play. I'm like, I do not want to see this man.
Now the problem though is obviously like,
fucking owned right here, pretty sure. Oh, maybe not. We get saved.
It's a great nano.
I kind of, since I leave comms because they're not useful. I just spam Z, and hopefully the Ana knows what I mean by that. Yeah. And she figured it out, so we got it.
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, it was a bit of a troll there with the visor. I think as soon as Hanzo puts his attention on you, like you're kind of cooked. But yeah. Okay. So Mei close, and then again here, like you see, like.
Yeah, I tried to skip. I was like, someone's dying here, and it better be me than the tank was my thinking.
But you're not preventing the tank from dying, right? Especially with the 3-second sleep dart. The best thing that you could do would be to take like an angle here and prevent him from dying by putting some spam damage out. But this is just
that makes sense.
Okay. This cap is really important. Okay, we're good to go.
Yeah. We get it. This game goes long. This game goes the distance, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. I'm down to... You can move at a brisk pace.
Sure.
Get lots of footage. And I don't mind going a few minutes over too. Okay, so you're kind of trolling here because you have, again, a strength that you have to be leveraging versus this composition.
Yeah, that's
right. And it's going to take a little bit of time too, right? So you could probably see where I'm going with this, right? Or where you should be going with this.
The more time I waste sitting here, the more time I waste sitting here could have been better spent running to get a better angle.
Right. So maybe sitting here and hiding, maybe getting up here and hiding, maybe going super greed mode and hiding over here. Because that's what I usually do. Right? Yeah. They for every advantage that Hanzo gives them or Mei gives them, they give something else up. Right? Now, if this is Hanzo Tracer, a little bit spookier, you'd have to kind of find a way to balance that dynamic. And by the way, how would you do that? What if they were on Hanzo Tracer?
This may be ego thing, but I'm not afraid of Tracer. After one tricking 76, he's good against Tracer on ladder. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you pop Biofield, you threaten with Rocket, even if you don't hit it, if she has to recall, she's done. That's the end of it.
Let's put it this way. It's the same thing as Hanzo, where if you were prepared psychologically for that duel and you play to your advantages of around health packs, or you keep yourself at a little bit of distance so you can land a couple of shots before she engages, or you land that Helix 8 out of 10 times. Yeah. Totally good. But
that being said, I'm playing against Diamond Tracer, so.
Well, but you're a Diamond player, right? Yeah. So like, as you get to Masters and as you get better at that, you'll improve along the way. So
you want to know something funny that I noticed? Everyone always says Masters like it's a golf tournament when it's Master.
That's true.
Yeah, everyone's trying to get their degree. Masters.
Exactly. They're the Masters and Soldier.
Yeah. I like to call him 76 because then you never get the confusion between Sojourn and
Sojourn. Yeah, it's actually true.
I mean, that's a different. I mean, it doesn't
Surgeon,
matter,
Soldier, Sojourn.
Also, I feel like a lot of old school players used to call him 76, but I don't really hear that anymore.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is what we're talking about, right? Like, this is like corny as all get out, but like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, this is just crazy. Like, what are they supposed to do about that? What are they supposed to do about this position too? You know, like this is just. You know, this is good. This is really good.
You're saying this correcting? Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't know if you meant this is crazy. Like, don't do this.
The ambiguity was not lost upon me. I definitely. But yeah, no, this is.
I was about to like, damn. Okay, I gotta.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you garbage can? This is perfect. You know? You know? Yeah. Yeah. Nice job. Obviously, like as the map opens up, it's juicy. But okay. Now this is again like where we have to make that adjustment. Like you look at what you're playing versus, right? And yeah, Kiriko, Ana, snipers, things like that for sure. But like, you're almost the sniper here, right?
Yeah.
So what you're doing now is ironically not so attractive. I think you can take an angle versus this team. You should take an angle versus this team, but longer angles. I don't want you to be within dash distance. I don't want you to be within a primary fire distance. I don't want you to have to sprint from this right. There it is. I knew that was coming, right? You're giving him value because you're not shooting right now, and you need to be shooting. So, you know, if you want to play, you know, here, or if you want to play here, or if you want to play here, I don't care. Just keep the pressure out.
Yeah, this was also a big problem for because I didn't press tab at 15 seconds. I like to make that a habit where it's like
you need to.
Even if you see everybody at 15 seconds, you press tab so you know what they have. I figured they had Hanzo still, so that's why I was playing those shorter.
And there you go, right? So at least you're thinking about it a little bit, but obviously like, it doesn't end up lining up.
I did not mean to go in there.
Yeah, I figured.
You running?
Oh dear. Yeah, shouldn't have stopped. Okay.
I figured this was fine because he had Discord. And
yeah. I mean, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule.
Especially if they're Discorded, I guess. It's crazy how much Zen was balanced for 6v6. He's insane in 5v5.
Yeah, insanely fun, you mean?
I love Zen. I think he's great. But, you know, I don't know.
Now, what do you think?
What do I think? I think I should be shooting that. What is that, Kiriko there?
Well, I guess more. I'm whenever I ask that question, I'm asking about positioning, right? So, what do you think?
I mean, I don't hate it, but that's why I'm getting coaching from you.
Right. Well, yeah. No, I mean, I don't hate it either. Okay. So this is because this is the thing is like we want you on a snipe angle, but if you want to take an angle and not stand here, I'm okay with that, right? I wouldn't be too mad if you were playing here, even though it's quote unquote on main because you could just laser these guys down. But if you want to take an off angle here, that's fine because look at the distance here, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good distance. I think.
And how are they gonna get to me?
Right. Genji dash maybe.
Yeah.
But I think this is okay. I will say, heal station so far has been not beautiful, right?
My heal stations are not good.
Right. I don't even think I need to tell you what to do with your heal stations, besides just maybe something to put thought into.
Yeah, that's one thing that...
You know all the rules, you know how to use it, you just need to put a little bit of thought into it.
Yeah. I think I want to try to use it to like help teammates more than I maybe should.
That has by far been a huge issue with you. Totally selfishly. Almost totally selfishly. Because especially the positions that you should be playing. Now this is interesting. This is taking the range to the extreme at the sacrifice of an angle. But again, I don't hate it. Right?
Yeah, I didn't hate it either because I was like, okay, I'm not doing full damage, but with Zen Discord, now I am suddenly doing full damage at like 60 meters.
You're overthinking it. It's just good sniper angle. That's pretty much it. The only problem with this position is what potentially?
I guess Genji or Mei could come take it from me.
Could, but they could have done it to the other angle as well, theoretically.
Yeah, true. It's hard to get back to my team if I need to.
To an extent, yes. Here's what I'm going to give you. Okay, you ready for this? Watch me turn on overlay. This is going to describe it perfectly.
Okay.
Do you see the problem?
I can't see anybody.
Right. It's a little. It's the squishies have a lot more cover. There's a reason that the Mei used wall here. Okay. You see me?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe a little bit more map specific thing, but I think that it's worth pointing out. So even with Nano Visor here, this isn't a guarantee.
Yeah, it's true. It ends up working pretty decent, but yeah, you're right.
But even then, it's not clean at all.
No, it's not.
So, not a bad positioning for the enemy comp. for the enemy combat. If you were playing versus a Widowmaker Hanzo, I'd be screaming.
No, hell no.
Ash,
I would not take that angle against Widow.
But yeah. So again, this is where like Soldier finds his skill expression, is you being able to like find the balance between I want range, but the angle on this is so bad, maybe it's not worth the range. Okay, never mind. This is actually worth it for this particular circumstance, because they have like a dive comp that they could just dive me on high ground. Okay, and then now you failed. Right? There's the Hanzo swap. You cooked.
Yeah.
So then now what would you do?
I guess I'd have to play like back left over there by that.
Right back where you were, right?
Yeah.
Right back where you were.
Indeed.
And now, but Hanzo can snipe you here too, right? So remember, what's your advantage over Hanzo? There's no range that you can play right now that's going to allow you to feel good versus Hanzo. Not a single one.
Yeah.
But what's your advantage over Hanzo? Or Widow, or Ash, for that matter.
Mobility, like changing angles, moving around so they can't like pin me down where.
Yeah.
No, they can't just like.
It's the element of surprise. Remember?
Run into it. Yeah.
Remember the psychological advantage, right?
Yeah.
So you might, as a soldier, as weird as it sounds, if Hanzo is spamming up here, you can maybe peek a little bit, but you're playing with your life. So just sit and wait and wait and wait and wait and listen and wait and maybe rotate to here and go, bam, Helix, kill him right on the rotation, spook him, spook him, right? And then you could even they're rotating here, Look at the angle that you could take here. Right, and then you could avoid the Hanzo, and then you could go, and then you could do this number here: sneak, kill this chick, kill her right here.
Yeah,
right. You summon the leverage, right? I'm gonna surprise.
Yeah, sorry, I just thought it was funny to refer to Ana as this chick.
That's true. Yeah,
it's very funny. Okay, this is a horrible spot. No cover. See, this is
no cover, but it also is just not. It's not
trying to save the Zen again.
Yeah, I see that. You sit here.
Yep.
And you wait. And you wait. And you wait. And then you hear this, and then you go for a one shot.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
You know?
I will say there have been other games where I've been much better about like looking, like, where's my tank? Look through the wall, and then engage.
Wait. See, even this isn't that good. This is crazy that we're talking about soldier cooldowns like this. But you would want Helix for this, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's why I definitely err on the side of have it when I need it, even though I didn't do it right there, but I think I started autopiloting it a little bit. That's why I was also just like wide swinging in the middle of that fight. I don't know.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna let that person know we're in over. Okay. But just treat yourself like a dive hero at this point in time, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, you're almost like a Tracer here. Like a Tracer can't play patty cake with Hanzo for 6 years, right? She's gonna get headshot eventually. So you gotta time that, because like right here, it's like, it's just a little too much. As soon as they put attention on you, disengage.
Or
disengage. You've wasted their time. Then wait for their attention to lapse. Then do it again.
Yeah, you're kind of like Kroger brand Tracer.
Exactly. But the difference between the two is that it's actually easier to get a one clip with you than it is with Tracer.
Yeah, true. And at a safer distance. Yeah.
That's the big thing. The Helix split shot, like that is a burst of value that Tracer is a lot harder for Tracer, and she has to put herself in a more punishable location than you.
Indeed.
Kroger brand Tracer. Yeah. Like to see it?
Yep. How about that station usage? Like,
I think it's okay because you started to take damage and you knew that you wouldn't get support.
I heard that, Hanjo.
So this is where you need to recognize the situation.
Yeah.
What you should do.
You
gotta fight dirty versus this guy, right? You gotta fight dirty.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's the strategy? Don't think the strategy. How do you beat this guy? We're gonna get micro intensive here.
Yeah, I think it seems like I'd have to, do a little bit of poke, change angle, or wait for real, like play the psychological game, like
Watch
you said.
this.
Like
sit.
Yeah, and wait.
Juggle,
and wait.
Listen, juggle peek. Listen for the shot. Kind of bait him to peek. Bait him to shoot, and then during the next induction, shoot Helix and then duck again.
Yeah.
And then keep listening, and then keep listening, right? Because if you hit that helix, he's got a real just tough decision to make. And then on your next helix, you can actually go out there with some balls, right?
Just kill him. Yeah.
You could be like, you know, okay, you're gonna either back off or I'm gonna kill you now, right?
Yeah.
But again, like this is not a fair fight. He's gonna he has the advantage in this fight because you have healing, and if you had healing station here, even better. Like, what on earth is he gonna do, right? So helix is a strength. Your mobility is a strength. The fact that you could just run away from this duel if you start to lose it is a big strength. Make him choose.
Yeah.
You're playing this way like I don't even know if I'd be using my gun basically at all, right?
Yeah. Now you got a ton of value because I just jumped down a little.
Right. There you go.
You got rocked right there, but you know it's kind of lucky to be honest.
I mean, it's all right. You hit the helix.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a lucky shot. I hit those all the time.
But finishing the kill.
That he did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, I didn't mean to fall. I remember when I fell, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I was trying to jump and get on there, and then I feel like that's like a decent.
I think it's a high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward. I'm all right.
Big toilet time.
Yeah, big toilet time indeed. Okay, let's keep going. I love the attack objective unspecified.
Yeah.
That happens in game.
Doing that. Yeah, it does.
I don't get this.
It's wild that wild that happens.
Get out of here.
Still.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Run, like flank, you know? Like, go take the flank now, you know? Because like even with a kill here, like go, go. Push.
This is for sure part of the mentality. I was like, I do not want to lose this damn game.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, then make sure that you don't by doing this here, right?
Yeah. See, I eventually was like, nope, that's not the right way to think. So I came over here, but it was kind of late. Because now Ryan's back. Now I lose on that.
You know, here's the funny thing though. Like, it's actually not terrible here. Like, I will say this. You need to anticipate this to an extent, right? You had to know that this was going to happen. The other thing though is that this isn't bad, but notice your first response, even if this gets you killed either way, your first response when you stop running. Look at this. What's the first thing that you do?
Shoot with gun.
You see it? Just keep running until you get helix and helix the guy. Mess up his aim. Yeah. Boop him off. True. You know? Get that burst. Again, play to your strengths here. Right?
Right. Yeah, I watched that kill cam. If you watch from his perspective, he hits a nasty shot that is probably low. Like,
good shot.
You know, yeah, it's a good shot. I would say like low percentage. Not that he's bad, and I'm not like shitting on him. I'm sure Oryx is good. He wins the game, but I don't think he hits that a lot of the time. So yeah, I think you're right. If I just like slow down a tiny bit, get the helix back, fire the.
And if you're a big brain here, you anticipate this. You hear Sonic, you save helix immediately,
right there,
and then he's cooked, right? And then it's much more of, I wouldn't even say 50-50. I think you have a slight advantage over this.
Right, right.
You know, and obviously, you know, Hanzo, when played really well, if he hits every shot, is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Again, stop fighting so nice.
Yeah.
Be a rat. Like right here, tuck, heal station, helix on the corner. And also, you really need to be trying to bait his shots as well. Like, remember, that's the weakness of the projectiles. You can bait it, and then there's that period of time where he's totally naked, right? Where he can't do anything at all. And so you need to be playing around that.
Yeah, it's part of my problem against fighting Hanzo as opposed to Widowmaker. Like, I'm very good at dodging. Like, I know the perspective of, because I play hit scan, so like I know how hard it can be if someone has really good AD movement. Not even AD spam, because spam's easy to predict, but really good movement where you like stop and then you move and then you stop. Like I can juke Widowmakers pretty well at my level. But Hanzo's totally different because I just like, it's just not ingrained in my brain. It's like a total, I don't know. But you're right.
Okay. Skills. We talked about a lot of like etc. big picture stuff, but for soldiers specifically, what are the skills that you need to practice?
Better heal station, more mindful heal station.
Mindful heal station. I don't even think I need to elaborate. If I was doing a guide in this hero, I would, but I'm not doing a guide. You know, so just put thought into it. Right? Not the biggest return on investment skill, but because it's something
that's why I haven't practiced it that much, because it's like heal stations. Like I know that I should have it for a duel. And beyond that, it's like I don't there's probably, I mean, part of the reason I got the coaching is like I'm not sure what my greatest weakness is that I feel like I should work on the big weaknesses before the small stuff like heal station.
But the heal station is being enough of an issue to where it's probably worth putting some time in until it's less trash.
Absolutely.
And then sure. Okay, what else?
I think, well, we talked about like, I mean, playing to 76's strength, which is very comp dependent, so it's like more consideration of their comp, right?
Your range or flank strength, right?
Yeah.
Think about enemy matchup.
Because I tend to have one mode, and it'll work on a lot of comps, and then it won't against another comp.
You talked about playing to your range, right? But that's only half of the equation, right? Yeah. Because
sometimes your range is shorter depending on.
Correct.
Whatever,
If this was a Hanzo Widow comp, you would be hard flanking and basically playing with a brawl hero, playing for those one-shot Helix flanks, right? Okay. Anything else? Those are the big two.
I don't know. What you got?
I don't know either. I think that was mostly it. I think those are mostly it. We spoke mostly. It feels like some of the other stuff was more Hanzo micro.
Yeah, I know.
So if you do,
he's my hardest matchup in my. I don't know.
There you go. Right. So just keep in mind the Hanzo micro, like psychological.
Yes, that's right.
I can't even spell. It's PY. What am I doing? Psychological matchup, playing around Helix, more catch him by surprise, right? Because remember, he can't. More often than not, you should be surprised in the Hanzo and not vice versa. Yeah. Right. And you need to use that to your advantage. Okay. Any questions?
So we're Diamond 2 now. What's going to be the difference between so fixing these things probably gets me into Master, right? Maybe mid-match, or will just fixing these things, do you think, take me all the way to what, GM5 or whatever? Because that's the ultimate goal.
Because even the term fixing these things is a little bit inaccurate, because you're not going to fix these things. You're going to improve these things, right? Yes. So I would say a measurable 15-20% whatever improvement at these things, they'll take you into Masters. From there, we might need to reevaluate. You might be improving at these things, and then you're good to go, and then maybe we get you into Masters. Maybe while you're improving at these things, you also improve other things like your mechanics, your game sense, and things like that. That gets you to Grandmaster. I don't know. A reevaluate. We'll find out.
It'll take it. Yeah, it'll.
You have a free replay review.
Nice. That's right.
So you can shoot me a code anytime next week, month, whenever. Sure. And then give me 4 or 5 timestamps from that code, specific fights, and then I'll take a look at it and give you some feedback within a couple of days. So if that stuff like that comes up, shoot me the code, and we can look over. You can do that whenever you want, especially if there's a problematic matchup like this one, for example. Then that would be something to look at. But then obviously if you have any questions too. But I don't know. It's going to depend on a lot of factors. It's going to depend on your mentality too, because if you get disgruntled with, okay, I did my coaching session, but things aren't immediately feeling better. Then all of a sudden you start taking Diamond 2 for granted, and then you start getting tilted, and then it's also, you have to keep in mind that remember the whole inner game of Timus. If you're playing your best, you're going to play your best. But what I'm doing is I'm not going to make you play your best. I'm going to make you play distracted and tunnel visioned on your flank and range and heal station, and you're going to play a little worse. Now you might be more confident, so you might play better, but you all might also play worse. It's either 1 or 2 camps post-coaching. There's very rarely in between. So, yeah.
That makes sense, for sure.
Any questions besides that?
Let me see. I had a few more, but I think they've mostly been answered. Because, and I also don't want to take up, because I know you got another session, so.
You're good.
Well, there was one, because when there's a lot of emphasis on, not shooting tanks, but I kind of figured out that it is contextual. We shoot the Ryan if he's discorded, obviously.
Sure.
We shoot them if they're out of position, so I guess I kind of already know the answer to that.
Yes.
You don't let them do stuff for free, but if you can shoot somebody else, you should, right?
Take a good position and see what's available, right? See what's easy, right? Yeah. The Ryan's super feeding. Focus him. If you're hitting 1 shot per 10 because the Ana's a trillion miles away, just shoot the Diva, It's very contextual.
Yeah, and then one was, let's see, if everyone takes off angles, who takes main? But I guess that's also contextual, because main can be an off angle.
Exactly. There's nothing dictating that main is main, right? It just depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, and then the last one was, whose job is it to push payload? Because you want to push forward to make space, especially as DPS with your tank. So what do you leave a support on payload?
Everybody but you. Unless literally nobody's pushing cart, then you take the responsibility.
Okay.
But just assume that somebody else is going to take it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I've done that, and I've had a few games where, because I'm getting high enough now where it's like people know that you should push forward and not push forward, not just 5 people on the fucking payload. So, but then I've had games where all 5 people push forward, the payload doesn't go anywhere. We win a fight, and the payload hasn't moved.
Yeah.
So I was like, whose job was that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for you, positioning is more important than the average hero. So I think most likely not you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
No other questions?
All the questions then, yeah.
All right. Well, if any come up, you can shoot me a message anytime, and don't forget the replay review. But yeah. All right, mate. Good luck with your practice.